The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a Nobel laureate, Baptist minister, and African-American civil rights activist. He was one of the most significant leaders in U.S. history, and in the modern history of non-violence is considered a hero and peacemaker by many people around the world. A decade and a half after his 1968 assassination, Martin Luther King Day, a U.S. national holiday, was established in his honor. In a time when America was tainted by racism and violence towards its black population, one man was able to turn the tide with peaceful offerings and solutions. At the time when the Ku Klux Klan was running amok with outrageously violent crimes against the black community, one man stood fast and rallied for equal opportunity. He was Martin Luther King. In 1964, Dr. Martin Luther King's efforts on behalf of America's black population received international recognition when he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. At 35, he was the youngest person to ever receive it. He accepted the award, but not for himself. He accepted it on behalf of the civil rights movement.
I must ask why this prize is awarded to a movement which is beleaguered and committed to unrelenting struggle.
In his acceptance speech, he took the opportunity to outline his philosophy to an international audience.
And brotherhood, which is the essence of the Nobel Prize.
One example of his ability to invoke the masses to stand up and be counted without resorting to violence can be noted during a 1966 march. James Meredith organized a march in Mississippi to encourage the black population to enroll to vote at an upcoming election. But Meredith was shot, so Martin Luther King took over the rally, and it was at this time that the phrase "Black Power" was first coined, when a split in the civil rights movement occurred between peaceful and militant Negro leaders.
What do you want? What do you want? How much do you want? When do you want it?
The split became wider during the following years. Through these turbulent times, Dr. Luther King's standpoint was that black supremacy would be just as evil as white supremacy. He never condoned violence, but he was fully aware of the impatience of the Negro population during the long freedom movement. Yet, just 2 years after this Mississippi rally, in 1968, 200,000 people gathered somberly in the streets of Atlanta to participate in Dr. King's funeral procession. Martin Luther King was assassinated at 6 on April 4, 1968, on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis. His coffin was drawn through the hot streets on a modest farm cart drawn by 2 mules. It seemed fitting for a man who had given so much to the underprivileged and depressed black component of America's society. For many Americans, both black and white, this day was as moving as President John F. Kennedy's funeral. Indeed, among the leaders of the march were the leaders of America, including the Kennedy family. The passing of Martin Luther King had America wondering if a violent upheaval from the black society would occur. America's population was caught between grief and guilt. In June 2006, more than 10,000 manuscripts and books from the estate of Martin Luther King Jr. was auctioned by Sotheby's. Such was the magnitude of Martin Luther King that estimates of the worth of this collection, which was not broken up but sold as one lot, went as high as $30 million.